Welcome, and let's talk with Paula. We've been around for almost 20 years now here at the studio. We've seen people come, we've seen people go, but it's a good thing that two people are still here. When I started, they're still here. It's Tom and Mark. And so, I mean, I appreciate, the years that we've done together. And then I've had guests that have been very awesome that have come here, and I want to salute this particular person that's here today because we don't talk about our veterans enough, and we don't give them honor enough. And I know that we just had the 4th of July, and I know we just had that big parade for the Army, but I feel like all services should have been, that's my personal opinion, it shouldn't have just been a parade for the Army. I know they were doing the anniversary, but it should have been all branches of military. That's just personally. I know they had a parade, and that was great, but when they talked about it, it was always about the Army. But you have all branches of service, and each one of them have their share on what they do. They departmentalize, so everybody takes a piece and everybody has a part. So I have a friend here that has been with us for a long time, and I want to honor him today for his service. And he is from the United States Marine Corps, okay, which is a very, very important part of what our military does. So I want to introduce him. Some know him and some have never seen him, but a lot of you have, okay? But his name is Sergeant Jonathan H. Kirby. How are you today?
Fine, Paula. It's good to be back.
It's good to see you. You're looking good, man. Oh, yeah, you're looking good. You're looking good in the neighborhood, okay?
Thank you.
Yeah, you served in the United States Marine Corps. And so I know each division has their task, the people in the Army. Who hits the shore first?
Well, the Marine Corps is first to go, but the Army also have a group, an elite group that goes first too. So
okay,
we all share that.
Well, y'all are brethren in the services, and I think that they should always be looked at upon that way.
Right. And don't forget the Navy, because
I'm
they
not
take us
forget
over there too. They take us over to do whatever we have to do. Yeah.
And I also look at the Coast Guard too, because they do their part too to make sure that our country's borders are safe. So I don't want to leave out any branches, because there's so many branches that actually protect us that we should really acknowledge them all,
Yes.
Because some people don't even realize that we have a Coast Guard. I mean, that's the truth.
Well, the Coast Guard is very thorough. They are thorough.
Yeah.
Trust me.
And a lot of people don't realize that what functions the Army has, what functions the Marine has, and what functions the Navy has, And so, granted, we saw a parade that went way, way back in history, but I just feel like right now that it should have really focused on everybody, because I mean, people look at the Marines as being a very special branch of the service, not taken away from anybody else, because I have family members in all of them, okay? Navy, Marines, Army. And that's why I think that's the attitude that I have, because they have male and female too in my family. So and they didn't used to allow that, but now they have. And I have one cousin, I said, well, what you do? And she said, if I tell you, I gotta kill you, so I can't tell you. And I always make a joke out of that, because she said she was in the special forces.
It might have been true, though.
And, no, she said it. She will not tell you. She will not tell you what her job function is. Her mother said, but she do something with them computers or something. I believe she sit up on the hill. I said, oh, don't be trying to figure out what she do.
Even if they did the computers, they still would have to do that.
Yeah, you might be in trouble. You might be getting her in trouble. What you think that she's doing, but she's not. So I wanted to honor you. You've been a good friend, and I just want to, salute you as, serving our country, because I know you were in the United States Marine Corps, and we just had the 4th of July, which did honor the military service. They had a special parade before the 4th of July, and I just thought that it would be nice just to give you that honor. and I salute you.
Thank you.
They tell me that I'm not supposed to be saluting because I ain't in the military, but everywhere I've ever been,
anyway.
I swear, because everywhere I've been, if it's somewhere where people saluting, everybody saluting, you know. They said we just supposed to do like this, you know. But it's like, okay, I understand, that's cool, but I'm going to salute, okay?
You can salute.
Thank you, okay. So how have you been doing?
Well, been coming along. It's been a journey, but you know, God is good, so I'm just gonna go like that.
He is very good, and I was just telling you, I was shouting around my house yesterday. I was kicking the devil out, but then I was shouting, right? Now I said my neighbors heard me and they thought I'd lost my mind. I'm surprised somebody come knock on my door because he is very busy. And you know, I know that we say we shouldn't be, but I said it's written in the scripture. I was acknowledged. I said you've written in the scriptures, man, but you was written out of it too. Okay.
He was kicked out of heaven.
Yes, that's what I'm talking about. So, they mentioned you, but you was kicked out. Okay. Yeah. So I mean, it's like sometimes you have to do that. And you got to open up your door and just absolutely just kick them out. You know, and then anoint it with some oil. You know, go through and anoint all the windows and the door. I did that. I anointed all my windows, all my doors. You know, in Jesus' name. You know, and I said I'm serious because there's just too much going on. And
don't forget about your entry too.
Yeah.
The entry to your house.
Yeah. Now, I've got the doors, the entrance, and the foot down there with the mat where people walk on. You need to do that on the inside now.
Don't have welcome down there.
Oh, well, I never thought about the welcome. I don't think I have welcome on there, but
if you do, get rid of it.
I sure am, because I never even thought about it. And I preach about a lot of things, but I never thought about having a welcome mat in that respect.
Oh, that will get your congregation thinking.
I am going to go home and look. I know the one on the inside doesn't have it, you know, when you walk, you know, over the door, because I've had pets in the past. But I'm going to go home and look, because I know years ago that I had a welcome mat, because that's what my mother, you know, and their grandmothers and them told us that's what we were supposed to have, a welcome mat.
All hell broke out there.
But my grandmother and my mother was the one that told me that we had to kick them out. You know, anoint your house, anoint your doors, you know, your door seals, and, you know, later on in life, I guess after I got old enough to understand that, you know, you have to kick them out. If you see the things starting, heck, you just personally have to physically and mentally and make that expression and open up the door and kick them out.
I try not to let them in.
You don't know who comes in your house sometimes. You think that everybody that say they're in Christ ain't in Christ, okay? Yeah. So that's why I go here. I try not to let them in either, okay? But you just don't know. You just don't know, you know, what kind of spirits people have.
That's when discernment come in.
That's true.
And you use all those skills, you know, for that.
Yep. Well, but you know, he's a great musician, a great con artist, you know what I mean? But I don't let everybody in my house. There's very few people that come in my house, okay, for that very reason, you know, because I've had some good times and some bad times with thinking that somebody was one way and coming to find out later on they were totally a different way, you know. But that was a good point. You heard what he said, right? He said, if you got a welcome mat at your door, go get another kind. Don't say anything. And don't invite everybody into your house. And that's a good point. I thank you for that, you know.
You're welcome.
Now, when you were serving in the military, and especially in the Marine Corps, were there females in the Marine Corps?
Oh yeah, we had outstanding females. They call them WMs, you know, women Marines, and they were outstanding. I mean, they could do it all.
Yeah, because they're trying to get rid of the female, not the services themselves, but somebody is trying to get rid of the females in the military. I'm not saying people's names, okay?
Right.
But and I think that's a disgrace, because it takes away from years of, you know, even when they weren't in combat, let's say the ones that were on the Navy ships, you know, that had to talk to people to let people know what was going on, or the ones that were, you know, making sure that y'all's uniforms and things were clean, you know, when y'all were on the barracks and stuff like that. I mean, they had different jobs to do. They might not have been out there in the field, but I'm talking about years ago. They had an important part of making it easy, you know, for you guys to do some things.
Well, believe it or not, civilians and blind civilians at that they the ones that make our uniforms. So, you know, a lot of people don't know that, but they do.
Oh,
they make the Air Force and the Army's uniforms. So, all the uniforms.
Okay.
So.
Yeah. So, you know, it's a good thing to know that they have a very important part that they've played throughout the years in history, you know, in the armed forces. And it's just good to know that now, you know, they have tried to make it so that they can, the ones that want to serve and go to combat were able to do so. But, you know, now they're trying to, I hope that it doesn't go through, let's just say that, that they don't
Well,
make
I'll
it.
tell you what, if I had to do it all over again, I would serve 13 more years in the Marine Corps. I would do it. And this time I probably would go 20 or 30, a lifer. So it is important. I don't want to say what I really want to say, but it's important.
It's important from the standpoint of that we need to treat our military with respect. I'm going to say that. We need to honor them. We need to make sure that they're taken care of if they're injured. We need to make sure they're able to get their disability without having to go through a whole bunch of changes, because I know people that come to me and I send them to you guys, you know, or somebody that y'all know that deals with that. And I'm amazed at how long the wife has had to try to get the husband to get the disability that he needed to get, you know. And it's not just one person, it's many people.
Well, when you say that, I'm a veteran and a veteran advocate. So the things that say, for instance, the VA, and a veteran comes to the VA to get help, he's not going to always get the help he needs. See, times the veteran has to go and get the help that he needs. Okay, because me being an advocate, I would go out where the veterans are. You know, that's something that the VA don't do. So I took it upon myself to go in the woods and be right there where the veterans are, you know, and meet them to their need. If they need to get, you know, their bank accounts and, you know, things, that's what I would do. And a lot of them, when I helped them get 100% or whatever percentage, you know, they want to give me money, but I tell them no, because that's not what I'm supposed to do. That's not what I'm here for. You know, I'm here to help you get yours so you can get out of this situation. So.
And you've been doing that for years.
Yeah, for a long time.
Yeah,
And a lot of people have gone and their lives have changed. I could be anywhere and they say, hey man, I say, yeah, but you know, keep that on the low unless you got a veteran beside you and he needs some help.
And you used to go underneath the bridge, there's a bridge over there, and you used to help the ones.
Baltimore, everywhere.
Yeah, and the one in
Virginia,
DC too.
DC, yeah, everywhere.
Yeah. And that's why I say that I honor you, because everybody doesn't do that, you know. I mean, they serve and they do what they can, or they try to help the way they can. But I mean, you've actually gone out there and been with them in the trenches here in the United States to make sure that they got what they have. And just think that if it was, okay, let's say 100,000 of you know what I mean?
Oh, everybody be straight.
Then everybody would be straight.
Well, if some Congress people who had to listen, they could have saved some money. You know, I know I'm not a mathematician or anything, and but if they were to give, and we had this conversation about a year or two ago, when I said give the veterans, each one of them, $1 million.
You sure did.
You know, and the question was, well, maybe they on drugs or alcohol or whatever. So what? If they on drugs and alcohol, they gonna drink themselves to death. They gonna you know, shoot dope and kill themselves. So I had the money to go to their families. That's what you said, and I remember that. So you know, that makes sense.
Yeah, because if they're having a problem and they know that they're having a problem, but they have a family, because I think at that particular time I was dealing with a family that was having a problem with the wife and the children, and the military didn't want it, the husband didn't want the money to go to the wife.
The family,
yeah. And
See,
me and
that's
some other
selfish.
people, got it squared away where he came around, but it was a struggle and it was a shame because of something. He was sick. And it was a shame if something had come to him, he hadn't written his. And guys, that's important about if you're just going in the military, or if you're in the military, and let's say when you went in the military, you wasn't married, and you didn't have kids, so you signed your beneficiary as being whomever, okay. But now that you have a family, or you're a young man and you know, just coming out of high school and going, because I know another guy that high school student is already signed up to go in the military in October, okay?
Yeah.
Make sure that you have a person that you know that's responsible, that you and their name goes on there. So if something happens to you, they're able to do what they need to do for you, because you still have to get buried.
That's called a trust. Just put a trust in, and you'll be fine. I mean, with that person, but you have to trust that person to do the right thing.
Absolutely.
For you to, because some people, they get greedy.
Yeah.
And
but that's in real life, even not with the military. That's in real life.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a good word, trust. And they put on television a commercial talking about get a trust in the wheel, where people have good intentions and they think that if they just pass on, they tell some other person.
That's about the best commercial they got on TV.
I think it is. I really do, because a lot of people don't realize that they can't just. One time you would, but no, not in this day and age. Too many computers, too many people, that's in your business, So I think that was good that you brought that point up again, that they need to make sure that they have it written. And when you go in the military, and I'm going to make sure that I go to the young man that I know that's going to go see if he signed somebody else on that paper.
He still can do it.
Yeah. And I was proud of him because he was good in his, graduated high in his class, and he just chose to go into the military. And just to see a young man coming out of high school, I know quite a few of them that coming out of high school that they chose that path. And so, what is it in this day and age would you say to a young person?
Well, first of all, he has to have God. That's the main thing. And then, he has to believe it for real. Can't play with that. I don't care what nobody say. So, and then it's priorities. His priorities and what he really want to do in life. And that will be a start.
And that makes sense, because even if you're not in the military, you got to believe in God, and you have to carry God with you. I used to have a preacher say, "Yeah, well, if you got some pockets, you better carry them in your hip pocket." You know what I mean? Because you need to keep them with you at all times. And I kind of thought that was a little sexist, because at the time I was young minister, because I thought that. Most women don't have hip pockets, Oh, yeah. Now they wear jeans and stuff,
But what I learned about that is the fact that when I went in the Marine Corps, it's God, family, and then Corps. That's their motto. So when they said that caught my attention, and then a lot of people were saying them being tough and all that. I wanted to experience that, but I was already tough before I got in the Marine Corps, so it didn't matter. It just gave me permission to do other things, and that's about it. And
I just, before we go off, I just want to say that a lot of things went on in the last few years. You got your doctorate degree, so you're Dr. Jonathan H. Kirby. And you and I both got a letter from the president at the same time. Yes. President Biden at the time, we got Presidential Award, which is the highest honor that anybody could get. So I want to say congratulations to you again. And so, it's a lot that's going on, and I'm so glad that you're being honored in the capacity that you are, and continue to do the things that you do, because that should be incentive. Because some of those things you've done since your injury, you still are just as active and doing certain things that you've been before you had your accident.
Can't stop.
If not more.
Yeah, Paula, I've been like that since a little boy. And it's like when somebody didn't have something to eat, and I had something to eat, they can have my meal. You know, that's how I've been all my life. You can ask my mom.
I ain't gotta ask you. I know you. I know you as the person. I know who you are. You know.
Yeah,
and that's why in my heart it came in my spirit to call you and say, let me do this while it's close to the. You know, the 4th of July, the military parade, all of us still around the same way, because I don't think that there should just be special days. I think that it's nice to have special days, but I think that we should honor those people while they're alive, you understand? And it doesn't mean that you have to have a special day. It's just that because people are still just coming out of the 4th of July, they just saw that parade, you know, and, you know, it's like, okay, so let's make this come full swing. So for those people that think about those things, that they can look at this person that is still doing and has done, even in a place where they don't get up and can run around and do things. You still do things. You still that person that has a great and wonderful heart for mankind, you know. And if everybody would just have that feeling that you have and I have, the world would be a much better place, because it would be, we would look out for each other a little more than what we do. If we wouldn't, these children wouldn't be out on the street. I mean, come on, a 3-year-old baby sitting in a car, somebody shot at my heart goes out to that family, and we say condolences to you. Yes. Those children, that they should have sirens, and we should have sirens here, okay, because we have, wherever they have flood watches, they should have sirens where they have flood watches.
We have them, but they just haven't been using them and using them lately. Yes, we have them.
Well, I know down in southern Maryland, where my sister lives, the sirens go off down there, okay? Yeah. But up here, they send it to my phone. But look at those people that don't have phones about flood watches, or it might come across as an emergency across the television, but that's not 24/7. You could have walked out the room. But in our area, in D.C., the phone rings, somebody calls you. Well, if you might not be able to get to the phone, you know, and everybody doesn't have voicemail. I just think that it's just my personal opinion, in this day and age, and especially with the weather that we have had recently, I don't remember. My son said, "Omar, it was like this some time ago." Okay, if it was, I don't even think it was this bad with these thunderstorms and the floods, and maybe it's where I'm living now, you know, and the hot weather. I mean, I knew we had hot weather when I was younger, but he said a few years ago, and I just don't remember a few years ago that we've ever gone through, since I've been an adult, with the weather that we're going through right now. And for those young kids in my family, my heart goes out and condolences to those families, that the young kids that was in the camp area, that, you know, they got killed because there was no sirens. They gave them a warning, but the thunder and lightning woke them up. You know, it wasn't a siren or something that alarmed them. They knew before they went to bed that, you know, they had to be alert, but they said that the thunder and lightning woke up those kids, and it was. And I think that's really sad. So, sirens might sound like it's a little bit harsh. If somebody's just trained to know when to and when not to, I really just think it's a good idea. I think that it is.
But my personal opinion about it is the fact that God is showing up.
Oh yeah.
And He's the one that's doing all of this. It's not, you know, president, is not nobody else. It's Him, and He's warning us right now. He's warning us. He's telling us about that He's coming, and He's already here, really.
Oh, He's been here for some time. He ain't just get here. He's been here for a minute.
Yeah.
So, and the thing is that if you recognize it and you know that's been around for a while, I just say, Lord, I in your time, it's when I'm supposed to go.
And it's going to be His time.
You know, and it's in your time, and I just really, I mean, since I was a young woman, I just never wanted any of my family or friends to have to go through what's already been predicted, you know. And I always used to say, Lord, not in my lifetime, you know, not my family and friends. I know we can, but I mean, I I was saying that when I was coming up. And after I got deeper into faith and, you know, learn more things, you know, you know that you just have to trust them all the time, and no matter what it is. And it can't be sad when somebody passed away because it was their time, you know.
And see, let's go back. When I started helping out, being a veterans advocate and stuff, I didn't do that for me. I did it unto the Lord because He was the one that put me on an assignment to do that. That's the reason why I did it. Other than that, I probably wouldn't have never done it.
Well, we know that God is in our lives, and He lets us be in contact with people, other people that are believers, you know. Yeah. And we all do what we have to do in different ways, or whatever our assignment is, you know. You just have to show up for your assignment because He assigned you. And I use my angels, and people don't realize that He has given us all angels and for us to be able to use them. And I use mine all the time. They're probably sick of me. And if you had something to spare, I'd come ask for yours too, okay?
Well, I might get mine to help you out.
Man, I ain't kidding. These storms have really, really been bad, and just to hear about the devastation of people losing all those homes down in Texas, and you know, the flood water and stuff like that. We're just fortunate that we live in Bowie and we're not in the flood watch zone. You know, we get flood watches, but we're not in the flood watch zone.
It can happen anyway.
But that's what I was getting ready to say. We might not be in the water, but what happens is our grounds get saturated, and Bowie is a city of trees, okay? And you might not get the water, and I pray that them angels be down there holding the roots of those trees and holding up all those branches, and none of them trees fall, because Bowie got a whole lot of trees, okay? So you might not get the water, but your ground gets saturated. And I don't think people realize that's just as much of a danger if you live in a place where it has a lot of big, tall trees, okay? So, you know, you need to, and maybe that's why we do get the flood watch, because we don't have the water, but it does cause a problem. So just think about that, guys. When we have all this heavy rain and stuff, your lawns and your backyards where you got all those big, tall trees, it gets saturated, and that's why you start seeing trees falling down and stuff. But I use my angels and tell them to hold them up, okay? I tell them to hold the branches, to hold them on the trees, okay? Hold the roots, okay? But I just want to say thank you so much for coming today. And, you know, we were trying to get you a couple other times, but I'm so glad that you were able to come out today, and I honor you from the bottom of my heart. In Jesus' name, I do.
Thank you.
Okay. And with that,